Evening all, Kieran here, back with another video, this time discussing day 2 of the Dublin Racing Festival. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the day 1 preview going into tomorrow, and hopefully we can find some winners on tomorrow's card. A few of the horses that I put up and mentioned. Obviously I put 3 up as selections and they've all been well backed over this evening, so hopefully we get some decent run from money. But in this video I'm quickly going to go through race by race of day 2. Firstly, starting off with the mares handicap hurdle, which Queen's Gamble of Harry Derham, who sends her over, is favourite at 4-1 after a second at Newbury last time out in the Jerry Fielden. Certainly has a good chance here for sure, and will definitely run a race, but would I be backing her at 4-1 in this competitive field? No, I will not. Bruscio, who I actually did back last year when she won the race at 20-1 on handicap debut, is back in here again off a slightly higher mark. She's actually £8 higher now in the ratings than she was when she won it last year. Ben Bromley takes over from JJ Slevin, so £5 of that is effectively negated with the claim of Ben Bromley. But I'm willing to back one that actually finished 4th in the race last year. That's Media Najara of Gordon Elliott's. Finished 4th in the race last year and actually gets a bit of a swing at the weights with Brashara, and they're both similar price, around the 20-22-1 mark. And I think he's got a decent chance. He's got Carl Miller will take the ride, so then again takes £5 off. He's very useful for his claim, this lad, and he's no stranger to winners at this meeting. Obviously won on Maxim last year at this meeting, so he'd be definitely one of interest for sure. Would be Median Najara for sure, but I wouldn't put anybody off backing Brashuro, potentially coming back and winning the race again for a second time. Moving on to the 110, you've got the novice chase over 2.5 miles, and Ballyburn is in here 5-6. Returning after his run at Kempton, where he was well put in his place by Sagino. Obviously stepping up in trip back up to 2.5 miles out of that race behind Sagino was obviously only over 2, which he was completely out of his comfort zone. And even though stepping back up to 2.5 miles for this, he obviously won at the meeting last year, winning the novice trial, the Supreme Novice Trial, sorry. But I can't be having him at 5-6. I'd be willing to take him on again. Don't think he overly looks unnatural over his fences. I think he's slightly, I wouldn't say slow over his fences, but he's very deliberate. He takes his time getting over his fences, and I'd be willing to take him on at 5-6. Impere Pass is coming here rather than going to the Scilly Isles on the Sandown on Saturday, so that could be a tip in itself that he's coming here. I liked him as a hurdler. Obviously he was decent in open company last year over hurdles and not made a bad start of the fences either, so potentially he could be the one to beat around the 4-1 mark. But and it's a shame there's only 7 runners in the race, because if you get 3 places in this race, then I'd be all over my boy Croke Park once again. I think he's going to be underestimated. He's won 2 Grade 1s this season so far, the last 2 starts, and I think the chasing has been the making of him. He's certainly 10 times the chaser he was a hurdler last season. He's living up to the price tag and the expectations they had for the horse. And currently best price at 20-1. Now I might take a dart on him tomorrow, I'm not sure, but I'll have a look and see what it is tomorrow night, what the prices are and the state of play. And if we can potentially get 3 places in some places, we might have a go each way on this boy, because I think he's very, very talented, and I think he's very underrated. And that's Croke Park. Moving on to the 140, the novice hurdle, and Kopek the Bald is favourite here at 11-10. Made an okay start of hurdles last time out over Christmas at Leopardstown. Obviously didn't jump well at all. Willie said in his interview afterwards that he was surprised how badly he jumped. He wasn't expecting that happen, so he's going to need to jump an awful lot better to be winning a race like this on second start. Then got Cade Doherty in there as well, who's had his issues over the last 24 hours. There was rumours that he had a stone bruise and he wasn't going to run, but he has been declared, and Mark Walsh he's dropped up on board, so very much looks like he is going to run. But looking at this, I'm actually going to have a go on Blue Devassi. Now I've liked this horse all season. I think he's very consistent. He definitely will run his race, and it's 17-2 each way, and you can put question marks past the 2 above him in the betting. We're willing to take a chance on him at 17-2 each way. Blue Devassi obviously ran here last time in the Grade 1 over Christmas, finishing second to Romeo Coolio, his stablemate, which is no mean feat. Potentially may need a step up in tripping time, more to 2.5 miles, but I can't see him not being in the 3 here in this race for sure. And at 17-2, I'm willing to take a swing at him each way in this race. The 2:10, the Dublin Chase, Gaelic Warriors 4-5 favourite, best price, but I can't be touching him at 4-5. He's got his quirks in his Saturn. I think all roads lead to Cheltenham for him for the Champion Chase. Not sure whether 2 miles around Leopardstown suits him. I think he more would require 2.5 miles around here. Potentially, like you see when he got beat over Christmas, he was outpaced and then stayed on for second behind Solness. Obviously Solness is in this race again. I can see him getting a bit of a freebie in front and taking him along, and potentially he could again run a decent race and shouldn't really be out the 3, to be honest. And he's definitely an each way price. Al Fabiolo has been declared for his first start back since flopping in the Champion Chase. I know a lot of people like the fact that he's coming here fresh, and a lot of people think he's an each way steal to nothing. I'd be willing just to sit back and see how he runs, to be honest. Like I said, Solness is an each way play if you want to play that, but he looks the solid option, but I'm not willing to back him just yet. One I will mention is Quilixios, who finished second to John Bon in the Tingle Creek. I think if Henry's horses were in any sort of form, he'd have a hell of a chance here. Currently priced at 16-1, but Henry's horses aren't running well at all at the moment, and I'd be willing to let that slide. He's got Quilixios and Captain Guinness in the race. We all know Captain Guinness is just going to be laid out for Cheltenham to defend his title, and this race over 2 mile will probably extend his trip. I think 1 mile 7 at Cheltenham, just under 2 miles, suits him better. So I'm willing to sit out this race for the time being. I might have a little play each way on Solness come the day, but currently I will sit on the fence and just watch and see what happens. Moving on to the 2:45, the handicap chase, and Back to Normal is currently priced at 5-1, and he looks like he's been laid out for this race the way he's been running in his beginners chases during the season. He looks like he's been plotted for a big handicap. Potentially this could be it, but I'm not willing to back him at that price at 5-1 in a very competitive handicap. Sequestered, who won round here very nicely over Christmas, absolutely bolted up. He's now £12 higher, and eventually that handicap mark could now scupper him a little bit. So I'd be willing to leave him to the side. The one I am going to back, and he's a huge price currently, is Riyadh, with Gordon Elliott, who actually finished second in the race last year after Percival Lagawa tipped up at the last. He finished 14 lengths behind a ready winner in Hartwood. And he had a couple of others who reopposed here, James de Burley, etc. in behind. So he's definitely, he hasn't done anything since Riyadh, but that's hence why he's 33-1. But maybe a return to the track, return to this sort of race could spark some improvement, and potentially he could outrun his odds. And 33-1, potentially going to get 6th place on the day, and I'll be willing to take that. He's not that bad at the weights either. He's only gone. I think he's actually lower than his mark he ran off last year. So I'll be quite happy to take that. Danny Gilligan takes the ride. He's a very good jockey in the saddle. I mean, he is at 33 to 1. He shouldn't be a 33 to 1 shot in this race, considering the form of last season. So that's a Rian. And then we move on to the 320, the Champion Hurdle. The big race of the day, the Irish Champion Hurdle. Lossiemouth 4 to 5 favourite. It's kind of a no-show, this race. You've got 5 runners. Willie Mullins has 4 of them. It's very disappointing. I would love to have seen Brighter Days Ahead come here and then the 3 of them take each other on, but that's not going to happen. She shied away. She's going straight to Cheltenham and potentially going for the mares, and we're not even going to see a clash, which she should, with Brighter Days Ahead going in the Champion Hurdle lever, which is very disappointing. Obviously, Lossiemouth has to come back from her second to Constitution at Kempton, and I think she has to prove it at 2 miles that she's a genuine 2-miler. She seems to always be staying on in her races. I know she won the Triumph, but she looks more of a 2.5 miles. I know Cheltenham will obviously suit her better than Kempton and Leopardstown. And speaking of Leopardstown, certainly that is State Man's backyard. I know he got absolutely slaughtered by Brighter Days Ahead last time out, but Willie's horses weren't running the best, and potentially he's just had an off day. He's entitled to an off day. He's been a brilliant horse, a brilliant servant to the yard. But I'm looking at the prices. Lossiemouth 4 to 5, State Man 11 to 8. Like either one could win. Hopefully it's a decent race between the two, but I'll be quite happy to sit and watch the race. Hopefully there's a half a length or shorter distance between. We have a decent finish, and then they both go to the champion and put it up to Constitution Hill Open, make a decent race of that. But yeah, it'll be a watching brief for me, that race. And then the 350, the handicap hurdle, this will be the last race I touch on. I know there's the bumper, but like I say, I never look at bumpers. They don't interest me in the slightest. So the 350, the handicap hurdle, Brave Troop is currently favourite 11 to 2 for Charles Burns after two decent wins so far, and comes here and has been well back. I think he's actually also favourite for the Betfair hurdle, or whatever it's called now at Newbury in next week as well. So he may potentially not be going there now, but he's favourite for this, and rightfully so after his 2 decent wins so far this season. Very progressive, but I wouldn't be backing him at 11 to 2 again, like the other handicap earlier on. I can't be backing out horses that short. I would have been all over James's Gate here. The more and more I look at it, I think that this could potentially be a stepping stone towards the Coral Cup at Cheltenham, because the yard and especially the owner likes to run horses in the Coral Cup and go close. They've had An Epic Song and Fast or Slow, both will finish second in that race, and he potentially could be the next one down the line. I know they have Build at Ballymore as well, or Built by Ballymore, sorry, that went off favourite last year for the Coral Cup as well. So they like to have a runner in the Coral Cup, these owners. I think if James Gate comes here and he wins this, I think he might handicap himself. He might push his handicap mark up so far that he would trouble his chances of winning the Coral Cup. But you never know, he's 9 to 1. Could be worth an each way play. I know a lot of people that like James's Gate. I've liked him as a horse a long time. I just think that the Coral Cup is more what they're going to aim at than this race here. But the one I will side with is Willie Mullins and Paul Town, and it's Storm Heart. Best price at 8 to 1. I was going to back him each way. Finished second in the Spring Juvenile here last year behind Carl Geese. They went to Cheltenham and finished 5th in the Triumph Hurdle before finishing 4th again behind Carl Geese at Fairyhouse. Hasn't been seen since this season. Oh, sorry, Punchestown, not Fairyhouse. Hasn't been seen again this season, but won his debut, behind for Willie Mullins at this time last year, and potentially coming in here well handicapped on handicap debut. And Paul Town booked, you know they're going to be going for winners this weekend, and I think this boy could potentially round out a decent weekend for the two, for Mullins and Townend. So That'd be Stormheart, currently best priced at 8-1 each way. And that is about that. Thanks again for listening, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Hopefully we can bang in some winners this weekend, and start February off very well. But thanks for listening again, guys, and happy poking.